got ourselves a Milwaukee 5378-20. It Mine is a 897H, but according to e-replacement parts, it works with all those models. So okay, so this cap here is the culprit. I'm basically just taking off these 3 screws, which will remove the gear case assembly. And basically, we're going to repair that cap. Actually, replace that cap. So, um, the gear case assembly comes with the whole gray part there, but I really only want to replace the cap because, well, I mean, the housing of the gear case assembly is fine. So, remove it like that. That top black piece on the gear case assembly should actually be on the red half of the drill. So a little later I'll show you how to just mount it on there before you reconnect the 2 halves. And those 3 spindles there, well, one is a pin, one is a drive shaft, and one is the spindle for the actual chuck. I didn't need to remove all of them in hindsight, but I really. Alright, so basically my issue is that cap is not supposed to come off like that. And those 2 holes inside of it take 2 pins. One of them is fixed and the other one has a spring behind it. The spring one kind of locks it in place. The fixed spring goes in this vertical slot and it slides the clip back and forth from position 1 and 2. Alright, so took off that clip and yeah, took off. Be careful with these. These are in a specific order. I kept them all together as best I could. That's the drive shaft. There's the clip. It's attached to the gear. Took all the gunk out. This right here is the sliding part inside that is not being held in place by the black cap. And basically this is all I needed to work with, but I ended up taking everything out just because I didn't know how it fully functioned in there. So right here is where you want to get that pin on the right aligned with that slot, the vertical slot, and that's going to pretty much get you where you need to go. The arrow needs to be pointing somewhere down, and then once you got that in place, you'll see that it can move. It actually slides the whole gear up and down the spindle. So now that that's functioning well, hold it in place, make sure it's pressed in all the way. And with this C-clamp here, or it's not a C-clamp, it's like a C-clip, something like that. Well, you put that in and it hugs the inside of the black cap, keeping it from falling out. So I put it in place. The grease kind of held it while I could get something to push it in with, because it takes a good amount of force. I couldn't get it in there with the fingertip. So yeah, I just grabbed like a chisel, something I had close by, and popped it in. As soon as I popped it in, I realized I didn't have the drive shaft in. I kind of freaked out for a second, but luckily you're able to pop it in. If you slide that thing forward, you'll be able to, or slide it back rather. Turn the knob, you can slide it back, and then you could slip that in, and all is well. So yeah, right here I just kind of played with it a little bit, make sure it was working well with the drive shaft in place. Restuffed it with all that grease that it came with, and put in all the washers. And this right here is where, this is where I was going to make a mistake. So that black clip in my right hand, that's supposed to go onto the red half, not right there where I placed it. So just, that'll save you some time. Alright, so this is where I kind of got the hang of it. I realized you gotta take this key out, you pop it in to the selector assembly. Under the felt there's a little pin that it hangs onto. Put the felt over it, and then just slide it in there. Boom. That's ready to go. That loose washer right there, that's gonna go onto the spindle. Alright, and here we have both halves ready to be joined. You just line up the top clip, and it kind of lines everything up when you do that. And bam. Should be in the clear from here on out. And when you rotate the clip, you rotate the chuck a little bit if it gets stuck. You rotate the chuck and it kind of opens, it jiggles the gears so they can slide into one another without too much force. If you're putting too much force in there, it's probably going to break again. The clip, it's plastic holding a metal pin, so it can get damaged. And that's what my initial problem was. Alright, so I buffed it out, and now right here, that is pointing to the 1. When you want to switch it to 2, swing it downward. And I think that's what an initial problem was. I switched it over the top, and that kind of stressed out the clip. It's not designed to swing over the top, I guess. So when you're having trouble swinging it from 1 to 2, you usually get stuck somewhere at the bottom. You rotate the chuck and it slides right in there. And that's it. Good to go.